You know what's wild? Most people spend over a decade in school learning how to memorize dates, solve for X, and label mitochondria. But not a single class on how to build a money mindset. Not one teacher pulls you aside and says, "Hey, your financial psychology will shape your whole life." And that's the part that stings, because by the time most people realize it, they're knee-deep in bills, debt, and regret. The truth is, schools don't teach you how to reprogram your mind for wealth. They don't explain millionaire habits or the difference between a scarcity versus abundance mindset. Instead, they hand you a roadmap that leads straight into the rat race. Wake up, work, pay bills, repeat. And when you finally stop and ask, "Is this it?" you're already playing catch-up. That's why understanding the rich versus poor mindset isn't optional anymore. It's survival. Imagine if, instead of algebra, we were taught how subconscious money blocks sabotage success, or how your money beliefs, often passed down like family recipes, can either trap you or free you. No one ever mentioned that building a financial freedom mindset isn't just about saving. It's about seeing money differently. It's about unlearning what you were programmed to believe. And once that door cracks open, well, that brings us to a tale of two friends. Sunny and Rocky were college buddies, same campus, same degree, same pizza cravings at 2 a.m. But right after graduation, their paths split like night and day. Sunny jumped into the success script society hands you. Took out a massive loan, bought a fancy car, locked in a mortgage for a house way bigger than he needed. On the outside, he looked like he'd made it. But inside, he was trading peace of mind for monthly payments. Rocky, on the other hand, didn't let his ego write checks his wallet couldn't cash. While Sunny chased status, Rocky chased freedom. He stayed in a modest apartment, drove a used Honda, and instead of upgrading his lifestyle, he upgraded his financial intelligence. While Sunny scrolled Instagram for luxury inspiration, Rocky read about wealth mindset and built habits around saving, investing, and delaying gratification. Two friends, two choices, one chasing approval, the other chasing assets. Here's what most people miss. Flashy purchases might feed the ego, but they starve your future. Sunny believed in the illusion of instant success, but Rocky leaned into long-term wealth. And that right there, how they viewed money beliefs and their relationship with delayed gratification, set the foundation for everything that came next. Because lifestyle isn't what makes you rich. Behavior is. And nowhere was that more obvious than when the credit cards came out. Sunny fell right into the credit card trap. And boy, it was shiny. You know the drill. Swipe now, worry later. Dinners out, designer shoes, weekend getaways, all funded by plastic. It wasn't that he couldn't afford his lifestyle, it's that his lifestyle couldn't afford him. Meanwhile, the interest quietly piled up like a silent predator. What started as convenience turned into chains. That's the danger of a poor money mindset. It convinces you that spending is earning status. Rocky took a different route. He saw credit cards not as a tool for lifestyle, but as leverage when used wisely. He tracked every rupee, built a budget, and stayed well below his means. It wasn't glamorous, but it was powerful. While Sunny was collecting air miles, Rocky was stacking real wealth. He understood that the financial psychology of control is more valuable than the illusion of abundance. And here's the kicker, he never felt like he was missing out, because he was gaining something deeper, options. Most people don't realize how subconscious money blocks show up in tiny, daily habits. That dopamine hit from impulse shopping? That's a belief that money equals happiness. Rocky rewired those patterns. He focused on value, not vanity. He chose freedom over flex. And as Sunny spiraled deeper into debt, Rocky was quietly planting seeds. Because behind every budget line and deliberate choice, he was reprogramming his mind for wealth and preparing for something even bigger. The compounding magic of personal finance mastery. While Sunny was stuck juggling EMI payments and credit card bills, Rocky was deep into books that most people never touch. Not fiction, not self-help fluff, real financial wisdom. He devoured classics like The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel and Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. These weren't just books, they were mind openers. They helped him understand how wealth mindset isn't about how much you earn. It's about how you think. And how you think determines how you act. Rocky didn't stop there. He mapped out a system for investing not randomly but with purpose. He looked into index funds, studied sectors like tech and green energy, and followed financial mentors instead of influencers. He even started an online business, using his evenings to build something scalable instead of binge-watching Netflix. While others were burning time, Rocky was buying back his future. His habits were deliberate. Each move was guided by deep financial psychology, calculated, not compulsive. And here's the most underrated part. Rocky didn't come from money. He reprogrammed his mind for wealth by choice, not by privilege. He challenged his old money beliefs, refused to let scarcity mindset dictate his destiny, and treated every rupee like a soldier working for his freedom. He knew that personal finance isn't a talent, it's a language. And once you're fluent, you see the world through a whole new lens. That clarity, it led him straight toward the most radical mindset shift of all. At a certain point, Rocky had a realization that most folks never even get close to. The goal isn't to work forever, it's to escape. While everyone else was hustling for promotions and praying for raises, he was building a quiet exit. He didn't want to just earn more. He wanted out of the race entirely. That's what a true financial freedom mindset looks like. It's not about surviving. It's about designing a life where money works harder than you do. Rocky capped his lifestyle even as his income grew. That's rare. He didn't upgrade his car, didn't move into a bigger apartment, didn't start eating at luxury restaurants just to feel rich. He avoided lifestyle creep like the plague. Instead, he funneled that extra income into investments, emergency savings, and scaling his online business. While the world chased dopamine, Rocky chased dividends. He didn't let ego dictate his expenses. He let vision shape his decisions. This wasn't luck, and it sure wasn't easy. But Rocky's rich versus poor mindset kept him laser-focused. He knew that wealth isn't flashy. It's quiet, disciplined, and sometimes a little boring. He wasn't seduced by the illusion of luxury. He was obsessed with the freedom to choose. And just as he was getting comfortable with this rhythm, the storm hit. Something no one expected, but something Rocky had quietly prepared for. While Sonny had no idea what was coming, the recession came in like a wrecking ball. Companies downsized overnight, and both Sonny and Rocky were let go from their jobs. For Sonny, it was chaos. He had no backup plan, just loans, bills, and a lifestyle that was built on borrowed time. Medical expenses popped up, and with no emergency fund, his stress skyrocketed. That's what happens when your financial psychology is built around survival, not strategy. Rocky, on the flip side, didn't even flinch. He had layers of protection, an emergency fund that could cover 6 months, multiple income streams, and a business that was already running online. He wasn't just surviving, he was thriving. While others were scrambling for job listings, he was focusing on growth. That's what a well-developed money mindset does. It turns crisis into opportunity. Rocky didn't fear the recession. He saw it as a reset. It was a moment that separated the prepared from the panicked. Sonny had followed the crowd, adopted a scarcity mindset, and hoped things would just work out. Rocky had questioned everything, reprogrammed his mind for wealth, and built a cushion most people don't even think about. And now, the guy who once drove the used car and skipped on expensive nights out, he was offering solutions while the world scrambled for answers. And speaking of surprises, the next twist was something even Rocky didn't see coming. One afternoon, Sonny showed up at Rocky's place. Frustrated, ashamed, and pretty much out of options. He didn't expect much. Maybe a bit of advice. Maybe a couch to crash on. What he got instead was something he didn't see coming. Forgiveness. Rocky didn't rub success in his face or say, "I told you so." He simply offered Sonny a role in his business, Indian rupee 15,000 a month. Not much, but enough to breathe. And for Sonny, that paycheck meant more than money, it meant hope. Sonny couldn't believe what he was seeing. Rocky, the guy who had once seemed too frugal, was now semi-retired in his early 30s, running a profitable online business and completely in control of his time. It didn't add up, at least not by traditional standards. But that's the thing. The traditional formula doesn't teach you about wealth mindset. It teaches you how to trade time for money, not how to build systems that work without you. Sunny was floored. The two friends sat down, and for the first time, Sunny really listened. Rocky explained how he reprogrammed his subconscious money blocks, stopped living for validation, and designed his life around financial freedom. Sunny realized that his downfall wasn't just the economy. It was his money beliefs, his scarcity-driven habits, and a total lack of strategy. He was finally ready to learn. But first, he had to confront something deeper: the invisible war between ego and debt. Here's the brutal truth. Most people don't get into debt because they're poor, they get into debt because they're proud. Sunny had to face that hard reality. He wasn't just paying off loans. He was paying for the version of himself he wanted the world to see. The big car, the premium apartment, the weekend escapes. All fueled by ego disguised as ambition. He confused lifestyle with legacy, and it nearly broke him. Rocky explained it like this: a loan isn't evil. It's a tool. But ego's a thief. It robs you of long-term wealth just to impress people who don't even care. Rocky had used loans too, but only for strategic moves like growing his business or making investments with strong returns. He never borrowed to look rich. He borrowed to build wealth. That's the difference a strong financial psychology makes. It rewires your motives and reshapes your actions. Sunny finally saw it. His past wasn't just filled with bad purchases, it was built on a broken mindset. The rich versus poor mindset isn't about income. It's about intention. And once he let go of the need to prove himself, something shifted. He wasn't just working in Rocky's business anymore. He was learning, studying, saving, asking questions. Slowly, he began to reprogram his mind for wealth. And this time, he was ready to rewrite the story for real. Now that you know the 5 rules no one teaches in school, the real question is, what are you going to do with them? Because information is everywhere. But transformation, that only happens when you apply what you've learned. Are you going to keep spending to impress? Or start building to escape? Are you willing to challenge your money beliefs, break the scarcity mindset, and finally take control of your financial destiny? Remember, financial freedom doesn't come from a lucky break. It comes from conscious choices made daily with intention. If Rocky could do it, starting with nothing but books and discipline, so can you. The power to reprogram your mind for wealth is already in your hands. You just have to stop living by default and start living by design. If this video opened your eyes, even a little, subscribe to the channel. Turn on the notifications. And don't keep this to yourself. Share it with your family and friends. Help them break free from the same old money traps. Because when one person shifts their mindset, they can create a ripple effect that transforms entire generations.